This media is brought to you by Polyscope.
In the realm of tomorrow, where tech meets mind, we ponder, we dream.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Sorry, I was a bit late there.
That's okay.
It's good to see you again, man. It's very rare that we do I do anything twice, so it's all good.
Well, we didn't get through much the first time, so we get another 22 minutes today or whatever it is. It's all good. We'll have fun. I have that microphone too, that round one actually somewhere around here. I move them around sometimes, so I'm familiar
Smart.
with the little ball. Yeah.
By the way, I love your background with all the radios and stuff like that. That's beautiful.
They're all real. Everything's real here, right?
I believe it.
Not
this
fake
is so
background.
cool. I'm just going to leave this in. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and
good.
jump in. So why
Yeah.
don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization and what you're passionate about recently, since we've talked about this before.
Oh my goodness. There's so much going on in AI. I mean, and it changes weekly. Gemini jumped to the
Weekly,
top.
daily, hourly.
Daily. It's hard to keep up with. So I do 40 keynotes a year or so on AI, mostly to large conferences, large organizations, and
Rookie numbers, man. You need to pump those numbers up.
It's true. That is true. I'm happy to do. No, I actually turn more down than I do because I just can't fit them in. They overlap,
Right.
and you do have to spend time with your spouse, or else you don't have one. So these are all trade-offs.
Super important.
But look,
Agreed.
It's a good time in AI. Interestingly enough, you're using AI, I'm using AI, but you get into a corporate environment. 80% of the people have played a little. About 20% did nothing. Maybe there's 1 or 2% that are actually doing something. This is unbelievable 3 years in, right? 3 years into Gen AI. It seems
for sure.
Crazy. So the companies need help, and they need people to come in and just get people excited and not scared, and teach them the technology, teach them all the things you can do. People are blown away. Like I was speaking to a company last week, all their leadership, 125 leaders, right, from throughout the world. And almost no one's using AI, even though there's a mandate to do so. And so I'm showing them how I design brand new products in their industry, how I rethink who I'm targeting as a customer, how I can glom onto some really, really big growth, et cetera, do competitive comparisons, all of that. And they're just like, their jaws drop. What do you mean? And not only did I design a new product, I showed them where you source the components. I created a data sheet. I say but with AI.
Sure.
And yes, there were multiple iterations of things to get to that. But what I was able to do, say in 30 minutes, would have taken them a year. And some of the market analysis I was able to do, I said, this market analysis did take me half an hour. It wasn't 1 minute. And I had to feed a lot of data. I had to look for other sources and double check the source and whatever.
Yeah.
But what took me a half an hour would otherwise cost you $5 million with McKinsey, with all due respect to McKinsey.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, this is a report that we all spent millions of dollars on, and now I have it. And we can poke holes in it. We can argue with it, but we're not starting from a blank piece of paper, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
do you think? What do you think their reasoning is? Why? I mean, it's obvious. Anybody who's worked with it can see how much time you're saving, how much you're getting out of it. What do you think the pushback is? Why do you think people are not doing it?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. First of all, change is hard for most people in a corporate environment. Number one. Number two, their days are busy already. They have no time. And this is why when you ask them, what have you done? Well, I played. Okay, that's not doing work. Start doing all your work. Start being AI first. You don't work on Word. You don't do Excel. You don't do PowerPoint. The first thing you reach for is AI and say, what ideas can I bounce off of this? How can I have a sparring partner with AI? They don't think of it that way. What they think of primarily is Copilot, and they're typing something and it says, can I help you reformat that sentence? So they're thinking at a Grammarly level, right? They're still there.
It's
and
true.
They don't realize, and you can't really do this with Copilot, but they don't realize that you can jump out to Gemini, or Claude now is very good at this. Perplexity is great at research. Claude, you can do these digital twins, and they can do analysis and simulation. And so
for
when
sure.
you understand all the different models and get approval to use them within a work environment with privatized, accounts, etc., that's when you get to have a game changer. The other thing I do in all of my presentations is it cannot just be education. It's got to be entertaining. And so I make people laugh and cry and do all kinds of things, but I always pick on their executives.
You make them cry? I love that.
Absolutely. I pick on their
Hopefully they're
executives.
tears of joy, right? Tears of joy. No?
Mostly. Mostly. I'll pick on their executives, and I'll have their executives doing a dance. Their executives don't dance, but literally dancing, because I'll have AI generate that, right? So I'm really good at the AI video tools and AI audio. I always end with an AI song about them that should inspire them to use AI more, etc.
I love Suno, man. Suno's great.
Suno's amazing. So the sort of the net result of all of that is you get a taste for all this cool stuff that you're not going to do, but you also get a taste for how your product people could be using this right now, how your marketing people can be using this technology right now, not just Copilot, but way beyond that.
Yeah.
And lastly, I leave them with if you're not AI first, it's okay. Your competitor is, and you guys will be dead in 5 years, right? So just decide. Do you want to double your growth, or do you want to be dead? Because that's going to happen to someone.
Yep. Well, that's the thing. The companies I know about, it's the same thing. They've mandated Copilot, and that's it. And then you can't use anything else within the organization. But what can Copilot do? Copilot can do a lot. Even within the boundaries of Copilot, right?
Sure. Well, Copilot does a lot, but it's within the boundaries of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, right? And
don't forget
if
Teams.
you are asking for help with Excel, it's brilliant, right? If you wanted to analyze some of what you've done in Excel, may be able to do that. If you really want to do a big market analysis, that's not what Copilot is really set up to do, right? That is, it's Claude or Perplexity or Gemini probably. It might be GPT-5, but I think the other models are beating it at that. But nevertheless, you need to go to other models, and you need to go to your IT department and say, I need access to these other things in a private version, a privatized fashion, so that I can go way beyond just typing in Word. I actually want to create a brand new product based on learning everything on our website, reading all of our documentation, right? Looking at the competitor's product and designing our next generation product. That's what I'll do. Well, you can't do that in Copilot. I mean, I don't know, maybe.
This almost sounds like this almost sounds like the innovation piece that I'm so involved in for over years. It's the same kind of thing. It's like you get people into a room, you get them all excited about something, rah, rah, rah. And then as soon as they leave, they're like, oh, we can't do this. We can't do this. How do you break through those barriers?
Well, remember, I have the CEO, the COO, and the head of IT sitting in the room. So I'm showing them what I'm doing with these different models. And then I say, look, you can only use what you're authorized to use. But now that you know that you can do these things, you have a right to go back to IT and say, I want to use this more, but I'm going to need access to different things. More than Copilot. That's fair. But they didn't even know. As I'm leaving the room and I'm talking to people, what you hear over and over again, we had no idea you can do that. We thought it's kind of like Grammarly, like it's fixing my sentence or fixing my grammar or helping me on some macro that I could never remember in Excel. I get that, right? But they just didn't understand that you can change your company. You can do market research. You can use it as a sparring partner, literally a sparring partner, which I do. Analyze my PowerPoint for strengths, weaknesses, what are other people going to say about it? And if you were going to get up and leave the room, what slide would you do it at? Right. And that's pretty telling, really telling. So, no, I think when you open their eyes, then at least you've given them permission to go ask. Right? If you haven't opened their eyes, they don't know what they can and can't do. They just don't know. So they don't need to go make videos as I'm doing, or short films and all of that stuff. But marketing might need to generate podcasts, or maybe need to generate social media ads and things like that. And those you can totally do today. In a really pretty amazing fashion. I showed them some things just using a recent press release and someone talking about this new addition, say, to a board. And they talk about it in a way that you can listen to it in the car, or you can watch it on your screen, and it's 2 minutes. You probably would have never read the press release. You swear that this, it's not like a year ago. Really, it is so perfectly animated, and the hair is perfect. And people want to tell me they can tell the difference. Good. No, I don't believe you, right? I recently spoke to a group of performing arts professors, basically a big group, and I took them through a journey of how I would create the I Want song for a musical based on an already written script for the musical, but I don't know who should sing it and where it should go and all of that, right? In a combination of GPT-5 for lyrics and then Suno for music and many, many, many turns of that. And now you can edit in Suno, you can stem separate and all of that, right? And so I took them through the whole process of eventually getting to notes on a page that allow musicians to actually play it. So here's your demo, and here's the notes on a page, and here's what. Okay, and half that room was so angry at me. They're all musicians, right? They were so angry. And this is when I knew you couldn't tell the difference, because it has no soul, it has no heart, it stole from everyone. Because when I would do that 2 years ago, they'd go, "It kind of sucks, doesn't it?" I said, "Yeah, it kind of sucks, but you can see where it's going." Yeah. And now there's visceral anger. How dare you be able to make a song in 5 minutes that would take me to get to a demo would have taken a musician maybe weeks or months to get to this level of a demo, right? And here I had it in front of them in a few minutes, and that's horrifying. Only if you're jealous of technology. You should never be jealous of AI. You're going to lose that battle, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like if you think about it, it's like the democratization of things, where it's like, here's somebody who doesn't know how to play. I have absolutely no musical skill at all, but I can create a song just like that with the themes and my ideas. So my concepts can be made real in almost no time, and that's right. The beauty of it. I think people have to forget that it's not just the AI. It's got to be the human and the AI put together.
No question.
Right?
Yep, no question. I keep saying that the human is leading this, right? This is amplifying your ability. But I will tell you, real musicians are using Suno like crazy. And the reason is they go, geez, I just need a new bass line for this. Yeah. So you got your piano part, you say, add the bass line. Boom, there it is. I would have perhaps played it in on a keyboard and tried to get the groove right. I might have hired a bass player. I might have hired someone with a digital audio workstation to put it in. There's many other ways to do it, but now I have it in a minute or two. So for real musicians who are finishing real work and trying to get to a demo, even if you're just eliminating the recording studio part of it, where I really had to take this to a studio and hire musicians, and I don't have to, and I got to find the singer that sounds in a certain way. Forget it. I can go through 5 singers in 5 minutes on Suno, get the one I want, and say, here's my demo. Now, whether you choose to release it on Spotify or that's up to you, but here's my demo. So a real musician who's ultimately writing music, but has an idea for a melody, probably has some idea for lyrics, wants to improve the lyrics, clean up the melody, get all the chords right, get the chord progressions right, get an instrumentation, an orchestration, an arrangement done, maybe with a full orchestra of 66 players, right? I can do that in Suno now. I can do it in 1 minute, but if I want a quality product, maybe it's an hour. But still, in an hour, instead of 6 months, I have my demo. I have my demo.
Yeah. But you can still see how they would say this is like killing jobs, though. You can still say how because certain junior level folks, it's kind of like this whole thing where AI is getting rid of entry level jobs for coders, for money traders. A lot of this stuff is actually happening. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be an effect. There's obviously going to be an effect, but we just have to do this in the right way.
Let me say this about that, though. So digital audio workstations came onto the scene with digital instruments, really high quality digital instruments, more than 10 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago. Really high quality digital instruments, you can't tell the difference, okay? So we modeled and sampled instruments, put them in there. Every TV show you watch today, if you listen, there's a soundtrack underneath it. 30-minute TV show, say whatever, there's soundtrack, there's music, there's all this stuff, okay? That used to be a set of musicians and a composer, and the composer would take a week to compose that 30 minutes of music in notes, hand it to musicians, they'd go to a recording studio just 20 years ago in LA, and all day these recording studios were recording these 30 minutes of stuff in time, in sequence, all of that, okay? Today, and it's been this way for at least a decade, any studio goes out to a single composer who who has a DAW, gives them generally 24 to 48 hours to not only write all the music, but they don't actually write any notes. They're just playing all the instruments. It's all digitally sampled, and they give them back their 30 minutes of music all-time sync within 2 days. It's done.
Yeah. So you're saying that ship has sailed.
That ship sailed more than a decade ago, all right? 2 decades ago, we had auto-tune. And every musician and singer said, oh, that's blasphemy. We would never use auto-tune. That's ridiculous, okay? Today, in a studio, everyone uses auto-tune, whether they can sing or not. Not because they can't sing, but because either I'm going to redo those tracks 50 times, each track, over and over, and plug and punch in and punch out and all that. Or I'm going to sing it a couple of times, and they'll fix it. In fact, the machine will just fix my slight interstitial notes that I never quite get right. Yeah. Yes, I can get them right. That means
anybody can become a singer. Anybody can become a musician. Like anybody, right?
All that's been true since auto-tune. And there are some people that you hear them without auto-tune and you go, thank God there is auto-tune. They can't sing. Right. And it was about 5 years ago. There's a couple of videos on YouTube where someone literally can't sing. And then they put it in auto-tune and they had it set up just for that key, for that song and all of that. And they sounded good enough. You think they can sing. They actually can't sing a note. Right. But the truth is, most singers that we hear can sing because they sing live. But they all sing live with auto-tune also today. I mean,
So basically what you're saying is creatives have to basically get on the AI bandwagon. They have to, right? Otherwise, they're toast.
Creatives have used every tool they say they're not going to use. They said they're not going to use DAWs. It's not real music. They did. They said they're not going to use auto-tune. They did. They say they're not going to use AI. 30% of them are already using AI, and the rest either will or won't be in the business. However, AI didn't take away the fact you can use a pencil and notes, and a score sheet, and write out anything you want. Look, we went to digital music on a computer 30 years ago with the Finale and then Sibelius and other tools. There was tools before that. And again, we had musicians that I'm never going to learn that. I'm still going to write it in pencil because I can hear it in my head. And there are a few who still do. We didn't take that away. However, the ones that are doing the TV shows aren't doing that. That's all going in a DAW. It's pushing out. Nobody ever sees any notes, and they're on to the next thing, right? It's how they earn a living. So it depends on how much living you want to earn. If you're writing in pencil, it's a pretty slow living because the going rate now for X, whatever X is maybe a tenth of what it was 25 years ago because everyone moved to faster tools. So AI is going to do that. So the downside is if someone hires you to create a demo of a song, they're going to expect it in 24 to 48 hours. They are going to expect to pay you $500, not $5,000. Like, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the positive is you can put out 10 times more. Just like if you were a blog writer before AI, you got $1,500 a blog. Today, maybe you get $100 or $200, but you can be done in 2 hours. Now,
who pays $100 a post?
Probably nobody
pays that much now.
Maybe nobody's paying anything a post anymore, or a blog post, right? Because I can do it. But you understand, large companies may still do that because they just don't have the time and they farm it out to a professional who knows how to write.
But then you have AI ghostwriters. You have AI ghostwriters that do all the work, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So look, everyone's going to use all the AI tools, whether they know it or not. And if in the next few years you're not AI first, then you'll be out of a job. Is my message.
So what do you think about this? Is that since it's democratizing all of this stuff, you got people who have just concepts. They don't know how to write. They don't know how to create. They don't know how to do music. They don't know how to do videos, but they have concepts, and they're going to throw it out there, and it's going to create a whole wave of crap in addition to a small little amount of good stuff.
Chris, like podcasts.
Exactly right. So, huge waves of crap.
45 million podcasts, roughly, rough count. I don't know. Hundreds matter. Maybe a few thousand matter. 45 million. Now, before podcasting, a lot of those
just disappeared, right? They start, they have no audience, and then they disappear. And there's I don't even know how many are actually live and ongoing at all times.
Millions.
Yeah,
but a huge number. But here, I know I've probably been on millions of them. I've probably been on all of them. So here's the thing. See, I got to cycle around.
I have seen you everywhere, man. You're ubiquitous.
So here's the funny thing. In the radio days, which is pre-podcasting, the number of people who could get a radio contract, like a nationwide radio contract, were like 6.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we went from 6 to 45 million. Now the 6, you could argue if you liked or disliked their show or their politics or whatever, but nevertheless, they obviously were good on the radio because they could sell enough ads and
For sure. Otherwise they wouldn't have the contract, for sure.
So what happened with podcasting? Democratized radio broadcasting, period, full stop. Democratized
Exactly what it was.
Now everyone can do it. And so we're doing that with music. There are already 3 songs that have charted in the top 100 on Billboard.
Yep. I
3
heard
songs
that.
that charted just in the last few weeks, charted, that were all written by AI, by someone who may not be a musician.
Mm-hmm.
But the public doesn't care.
I love that. Personally, I think that's great. But there's musicians out there who are like spinning right now going,
yes,
oh my God, it's the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. You can still do your thing. But you got to realize that people don't care. They just want to be entertained. And I've said this also about Hollywood. Hollywood is in for a rude awakening, as is SAG and everybody, actors and everyone else, right? And with all due respect, I'm not taking anything away from that, but AI allows us to build product with no actors, no lighting, no cameras. Just does, right? By the way, you don't have a sound guy right now. You don't, or sound gal. You don't have lighting. You set it up yourself. You're done, right?
Yeah, so, exactly. And it's authentic, which is what people want anyway, right? They want authenticity.
It turns out that's what sells the best, right? My background is truly authentic. It sells the best. So Hollywood was set up because you needed sound stages. You needed all of this equipment and people and everything. But now you don't. And within the next few years, everyone will be able to make a 120-minute film for about $120, about $1 a minute. That is a million X reduction in cost.
That's right.
A million X reduction in cost. That is market transformational.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there will be millions of films put out.
Oh, yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't. We've democratized. It doesn't mean you're good at telling a story. But here's the cool thing: you have a story in your head. You probably do that you want to make a film out of. And to date, you could knock on Universal's door and Sony's door and everyone else's door, and the chance of them picking your film up is 0. They've never heard of you before.
Absolutely.
Even if they watch
0.
your podcast, it's 0. But now you can just go make it yourself. You don't need the studio system. You don't need distribution to theaters because no one goes anyway, except for Wicked, and Wicked 2 apparently because it's done well. But you'll just put it on YouTube, and it'll either go big or it won't. And if it goes big, you'll make a few $1 million just from YouTube. And if it doesn't, you still got your art out there, and we democratized your access to tell your story.
And you can do more. You can do more.
Every filmmaker is going to be mad at you and everyone who does that. And they're going to be very angry when one of those becomes a hit because they'll say that's not fair. When was it that we were born?
How the hell is that not fair?
Well, right. It's actually
if anything, it's more than fair.
And life isn't fair anyway to anyone. I mean, when we were born, I hope your parents did say, life is really fair. No, it's the opposite of fair. Fairness never enters into anything. Use the technologies you're given. Have fun at it. Put out art, put out music, put out podcasts, put out whatever you want. People either like it or don't. You have 3 viewers, you have 3 million viewers. It just is what it is. And if people want to get mad at that, then they're jealous of the technology. The
creation of the art is, I think, the important piece, not necessarily the consumption of it. Just get it out there, and if it does well, great. If not, do something else.
How many people are literal artists that paint and everything else? And no one ever buys their stuff, but at least they have it. Maybe they do a showing, they do, they're waiting tables, right? But they're doing their art. And so you can do your art in any way you want. You can create with these new tools in ways that you could never create before. And someone in the next 5 years is going to have a film that goes through the roof and it goes viral on YouTube. And they're going to make millions of dollars. They're going to make more than Mr. Beast. He's at $100 million a year or something, right? So they're going to make plenty of money. And there's going to be lots of people in Hollywood who are so angry. You didn't use any actors. You didn't use voiceovers. You didn't use... I just used what I had. For $120, I made a film. Yeah. It is what it is. And we can't stop that train. Everyone wants to stop it. No. Train's going.
That train has left the station.
The station in 2012 when we invented deep learning, right? All right, I know we only got a couple minutes left. I don't want to
it's time
occupy
to think
it all.
like a futurist. So I know you like. Where things are accelerating really fast, right?
Yeah.
Where are we going to be in 10 years? Where's 2035? Where do you see us in 2035? I see it like I remember saying this the other day. It's like we were talking about the 3 tracks on Billboard that are, are doing really well. And I'm like, well, in 10 years or even 5 years, we're not even going to have individual artists playing music. It's going to be some soundtrack geared to me, automatically generated by AI with no musicians, no soundtracks, no nothing.
Very much could be.
No tracks, right? I'm just
Same
going to
with
be
film.
listening to music. Yeah.
Over
exactly.
the next 10 years, you may have a film that literally is automatically being generated for you, just like we're starting to do with ads on Facebook.
Exactly.
You'll see more and more of that. And so we will certainly get to that point where those are generated just towards the things you like, right?
Yeah.
And so someone's seeing a rated R version and someone else is seeing a PG version because that's what they're drawn to, for example. But the big thing, I think, is going to be physical AI. So whether LLMs aren't the end, the be-all, end-all of all AI, but they do allow us to talk directly to computers. And the big change coming is humanoid robots that will be part of our lives. And there's going to be stumbles and there'll be problems and there's going to be all kinds of things for 5 years. But in the early 2030s.
Are you kidding?
Right.
I want the robot get robots cooking, in here
cleaning.
Now.
Right,
exactly.
Right.
Empty my freaking dishwasher, man.
And they will. And they've been trained to do that already. Some humanoid robots, they're not very good at it. They can't cupboards, but they're learning faster and faster with reinforcement learning. So I think it's a very exciting time, and physical AI is going to change our lives. This stuff on the computer is making us more productive in our compute lives, in our work lives. But when that changes, when they're here and they're literally in the office, they say, great, clean up the office over there while I'm working over here. And then can you go finish the laundry? Okay, now how productive am I? Because I've taken a lot of my household chores and given them to a robot. Yes, you can still choose to do your household chores, but you won't be as productive as a human since you're spending, 8 hours of your week doing household chores that you could, in fact, be creating a film with AI.
Absolutely. That's what you do in your spare time. But here's the other question, though, I have here is that what's going to happen to us when we start seeing these things where everything is just zeroed in, like all the creation, all the entertainment is zeroed in on the human being itself. So the film I'm watching is going to be different from the film you're watching. Because it'll be different from the film you're watching.
I think you'll have choices. You
won't have, but where's the communal experience? The communal experience is going to disappear.
You will have choices. So you can still go to a concert and see all the same concert. You will also, if you choose to see the same film that a million other people are seeing, you will choose to do that. If you choose to have a personalized version, you will choose to do that. And people will start to honor the communal experience ones and say, I'd like that one. Just like people are honoring vinyl records and Polaroid cameras right now. Right. And they love them. Because there is something visceral about those things, right? It's very interesting.
But all right, I know our
time is up here. Yeah,
these little flashbacks to older things, you think they're going to be consistent, or do you think they're going to disappear at some point?
I think there'll always be flashback to older things, just like we've seen that in clothing, we've seen it in parties, we've seen it in bars. The big drinks today, old fashions and Manhattans. Really, these are from like the 50s, right? From Mad Men, and they've been back for a few years, right? But people are really into them, and they're smoking them, so look, things that we invented in the 50s are not bad today, and so to have things cycle around from the 50s or the 60s or 70s that were good, not everything was good, but were good, I think is nostalgic and it's interesting, and the younger generation finds it incredibly interesting, right? Can you imagine it prints out and here's my picture? Wow. It's
amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been great as usual. So why don't you tell us if someone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
My website, kevinsurace.com.
That's it? Wow.
That's it.
I love it. All right. I'll put the links in the show notes and we'll get there. And maybe we'll do this again, man. It was too much fun.
We'll do it. We'll do it
later.
We'll pick it up again in a few months. Take care, man.
Bye-bye.
Pixels and philosophies merge and mold, a future untold, unseen.